everyone, I'm Siddhartha. I'm a second year BTech IT student from NSCC, Kolkata. Now, welcome to our channel CodeChef. Today, we would be discussing the problem chef and the remissness. And the problem code of this problem is REMISS. And the difficulty level of this problem is easy and the prerequisite are none. Now, let us understand the problem statement. So, we are given the count of number of times a person enters into the office building by two guards. Okay, and then we need to report the maximum and the minimum number of times the chef could have entered into the building. But there is one condition. What is the condition? That they never fall asleep at the same time. That is, at least one of them remains awake. Okay, and while a guard is asleep, he won't count the entry or of the person in an office building. Now let us move to the input and output. Okay, so we are given t number of test cases, and in each test case we are given two space separated integers, integer a and integer b. Integer a is the count by guard 1 and guard 2, b is the, and we need to output that for each test case what is the maximum and what is the minimum number of times chef would have entered into the office building. Now there are two cases. First one is minimum, second one is maximum. So let us first consider the case of the minimum. So suppose there are two guards, guard 1 and guard 2. Okay, guard 1 and guard 2. And guard 1 saw 5 times and guard 2 saw 7 times. Okay, now we can consider 1 is there and 2 is there. So we can consider that this is greater, so this is more accurate. Okay, now one of them will remain awake. So the minimum number of times is that we can consider that guard 2 didn't slept. Okay, this might be the condition, and guard 1 slept, that's why he missed 2. Okay, and guard 2 didn't slept only. That's why we would take the maximum of both. Okay, we would take the minimum is the maximum of guard 1 and guard 2. Good to go. So am I clear? So I would be repeating the idea. So the thing is that suppose there are two guards and guard 1 saw the chef entering the building 5 times, guard 2 saw it 7 times. Okay, the thing is that suppose we might consider both of them won't sleep. Either one of them would be waken up. Okay, so now we can consider that either guard 1 is awake the whole time or guard 2 is awake the whole time. We can consider this, but we can't consider that guard 1 is awake the whole time because he has missed 2 chances. Okay, in comparison to the guard 2, that's why his count is less. Okay, now we can consider that he was awake the whole time because his count is more. Okay, that's why we are taking into account the maximum of a, guard 1 and guard 2. Good to go. Now the second case. The second case is the maximum one. Okay, so we know the condition that both of them won't sleep. Either one of them would sleep. Okay, either one of them would sleep. Either A or either B would sleep, or both of them would remain awake. Now we would consider the first case. Okay, it might be the case that guard 1 5 and guard 2 7, 1 and 2. So it might be the case that half the day guard 1 was awake and guard 2 was sleeping. That's why it took an account that 5 times chef entered. Okay, and now he is sleeping and he is awake. Okay, now while he is sleeping, guard 2 took an account that chef entered the building 7 times. Okay, this might be the case that one is sleeping, either one is working, one is sleeping, other one is working itself. Okay, this idea is somewhat clear, so I won't be repeating this. So what would be the answer? Answer would be the sum of A and B itself, which is A plus B, would be the maximum count. Okay, now let us go to the sample test case and see if we are correct or not. So we are given one test case in the sample. The first one counted 19 and second one counted 17. Okay, we know that the count of the first card is more accurate because it may seem that he has not missed anything and 17 might have missed 2 count. So at first we need to report the minimum count the chef entered. Okay, so what we decided that we would take the maximum of A and B. We would do the same. So maximum of 19 and 17 would be 19 itself. Okay, that's why it is the minimum thing. Next thing is that we need to report the maximum. So at first guard 1 counted 19 while the other one was sleeping. Now he is sleeping and the other one, the second one, counted the count 17. So 19 plus 17 is equals to 36. So 36 is our answer. We would simply use the STL of max A and B and we would do the sum of A and B. Okay. Now let us implement this. At first we would be taking care of the test cases part. So int T C, then C int T C, and then for loop int T is equals to 0, T is less than TC while T plus plus. Okay, and then we would be taking the count of guard 1 and guard 2. We would be naming as at A and B, input of A and B, and then we would at first report the minimum. We would be storing it is MN, and what would be the minimum value? The maximum of A and B. So the maximum of A and B itself, and then we need to report the maximum value when either one of them is sleeping. Okay, so in max mx is equals to A plus B itself, and then we would be printing it see out the minimum one, mn with the space separated, and then mx with an end line. Okay, with an end line. Let's save this and run this. And it has passed on the sample test case. Now let us submit this. At first we would be removing the boilerplate and pasting our code. Then we would be submitting and our submission is queued and we would wait for the verdict itself. And yes, we got an AC. If you are interested in competitive programming and want to learn and master data structures and algorithms, this is a one-stop destination for you. Every week, we post CodeChef problem explanation, live problem solving sessions, and frequently asked interview problems. Consider subscribing this channel if you haven't yet already.